Lindsey Rietzsch.
And I'm Gabe Rietzsch.
Gabe is a drummer, and he is part of the band called Greenhouse. And we are here to answer questions about this project we just completed. The album is called My Own Eden. I think everybody kind of wants to have this Garden of Eden in their life, this place where they can go to, this place that they've created, where they feel safe, where they feel like they can be themselves, a place where you're your happiest. That would be your own Garden of Eden. So this album kind of describes my own personal Garden of Eden, and it's mainly a message to my kids.
Every song is different, but the main influences are definitely like bedroom pop, alternative, and indie rock. Bedroom pop is like very ambient, like synth-driven pop that's upbeat, and it's usually produced in a bedroom. which is where we produced it.
This album.
Yeah.
Imagine that. I think you could describe this whole album too as like a guinea pig experiment because Gabe just started all of this in January, and we just thought, hey, this will be fun. Let's write some music, and you can kind of get a feel for your program, and that's what we did.
On the song Without You, I think I listened to a song by The Weeknd, The Morning or something, and there's a synth at the beginning, and I was in school in a recording class, and I was just playing around because we had nothing to do, and I kind of did something a little similar to the intro of that song, and I wrote down the chords and brought them home, and then we made that song. That was the first song we recorded, but it's not the first song on the album. It's like the second to last, I think.
Yeah.
I guess the intro makes sense because it just feels like an intro, and then the next couple songs kind of pick up the beat a little bit. I feel like Just Shine is like a good in-between where it's like picked up, but it's still kind of, I don't know, like it's cooler. It's not like, it's like ambient, and it kind of helps slow down the album a little bit, and so I feel like it's a good transition into Without You, and then Your Worth to kind of close out the album. I really like Your Worth is the end.
Celine Dion, Janet Jackson.
Just on one of them.
That was his idea.
I just wanted to make a song like that.
The Sundays, Dayglow, just a lot of current bedroom pop artists. The sound I was kind of trying to go for, I've always been inspired by Irish and Celtic artists like the Cranberries, Sinead O'Connor, Enya, and I think Gabe had a lot of fun with that. Every time I would come to him and ask to throw in these like sounds, you know, I just hear that. So I think in some of the songs you'll pick up on that, but Gabe did his best to keep out those Celtic instruments in the music because
because they don't make sense.
He's like, no. But I think you'll still feel some of that and hear some of that influence in some of the songs. There's a lot of harmonies on this album. Songs that have harmonies speak to me. It feels so right. Do they drive a producer crazy though?
No. Some of the harmonies make sense, but then sometimes she wanted to do vocal runs on top of the harmonies every 5 seconds. I kept most of them out, but there's still a couple in some of the songs. So I have a lot of musical influences. I like most genres, pretty much all genres you can find in my playlist. I listen to a lot of alternative or rock. I think it's good to dabble every genre, especially when you produce music, because it gives me a lot of more influences, so it helps me be able to come up with ideas faster.
Yeah. Gabe likes every decade just about. Is there a decade you don't like?
Not really.
We even listen to music like from the 20s. Occasionally. That really old jazz music. I think we love it most in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we love like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Billie Holiday. And you know, we have Swedish heritage, so I always tell Gabe, the Swedish people are like known, they're notorious for their pop music. So that's why it's no surprise to me that we work really well together, and he makes amazing pop music for those of you out there who love pop. It's in our blood.
Pop is the hardest genre to make because it has to be very catchy and perfect, but like it has to be receptible to like a lot of people.
So it's hard. It's a challenge. You might think actually that it's super easy because it's so like repetitive and anyone
and
can do it.
maybe it's not a challenge for like the singers and like famous pop stars, but whoever is producing the pop music, whether that is the singers or you got to give the producers a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Because that is very hard, and pop music takes the most time, I think, to record.
Yeah, I've learned that.
And once you get a very catchy pop song, that takes a lot of talent. There's very good pop. It doesn't matter if it's like cheesy, but like you listen to it and you come to appreciate it.
If the song doesn't get stuck in your head, it's not a good pop song. Just saying. I'm always changing daily. Like it just depends on what I'm in the mood for. Some days I just want to listen to 50s, like 1950s sock hop music all day. And then other days I'm totally into new wave. I love new wave music. I think that was my favorite in high school. I also loved alternative music all throughout high school. Took a break from it in the 2000s and now I've come back to it. I love just the sounds. I love indie alternative. I love indie music. I love clean music, so I use a lot of filters. But any songs that have really good harmonies, I love. I find that when I'm driving in the car, it doesn't matter what song comes on the radio, I will always try to take it to another level. I'll start going up octaves and throwing in harmonies that aren't there, and my kids think it's funny, but I can't help it. It's like I hear stuff and have to just get it out. So women that have higher voices, I can sing along better to those songs, so those tend to be my favorites. A lot of British bands, a lot of bands from the UK in the 80s and 90s, I absolutely love.
Just lying smiling in the dark, shooting stars around your heart, dreams come bouncing in your head, pure and simple every time.
Any genres that people would be surprised to know that you like? For me, that would be bluegrass. I love bluegrass.
Hurry up, baby, step too late. Crawdad man done past your gate.
That's a very good question. Dance music, so like house or a little bit, yeah.
One more time.
But I'm not like, you couldn't ask me a lot about them because I wouldn't know a lot. I just occasionally listen to it. R&B too.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people
R&B.
wouldn't think I listen to like Amy Winehouse and stuff.
I think there's been times when Gabe has been surprised to learn about music I used to listen to when I was his age, and he's like, Mom. Gosh. It surprised me when I showed him some of the albums I used to own in high school, and he's like, Mom, there's no way. Like, there's no way. He's like, that's really edgy. So you change your taste over the years, and when you become older, when you become a parent especially, you really clean out your music collection. So you'll do that someday. You will.
I think I've already done
Yeah, maybe.
Very messy.
Yes.
That's it. Usually, I would either make a song or you would have an idea for a song and then I would make it. And then I would send it to you and she would write words and a melody. And then just on weekends, we'd only spend an hour or 2 hours per weekend in the morning recording.
That's why it took.
So it would take like a month to get one song done.
Yeah, it took from January until now. So almost a year. He didn't work for free.
But I still didn't know what I was doing like half the time.
Which made it fun. It was an adventure. There was a couple times I came to you with like something that I would sing out, and I'm like, will you do something with this? I think one of the songs I plunked out on a keyboard and I recorded it into my phone, and I was like, can you do something with this?
Yeah.
And he totally did.
That was the song that was most frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was about that song, but I remember one day on that song, a lot of things went wrong. I remember all the files got corrupt and like stuff, and so I had to like put it back together, and it was very annoying. And I think you can kind of hear a little bit how it just feels a little different than the other songs, but it still worked out. But that song was just very tedious process. It was not fun.
Which song was the most work?
Without You.
without you. That was a lot of work. Yeah.
We kept constantly adding.
Yeah. Sometimes you would think we were going to be done with the song, and then I'd be like, wait, I have an idea. I'm hearing something. And yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
So
We work well together, not just because we're related, mom and son, but Gabe can try to understand what it is I'm hearing in my head. Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes we get frustrated during the process because I can't communicate what I'm hearing and he can't understand what it is I'm communicating. But finally, usually we get to a point where it makes sense. And then we both are like, yes, this works. So that happened a lot, didn't it?
her voice is very unique, or the singing style. So what you would typically think you'd do to most cases, I found out wouldn't work with her vocals, especially because it was my first time. It was difficult too, because it's just a different style and takes a little more customization, to fit. You have to find what suits her vocals.
That's a nice way of saying we used auto-tune.
Well, that's not just it. But very, very different, just vocal chains and EQ and plugins. Because your voice is high, I didn't want to hurt anyone's ears
It is
for
high.
certain things. But it was just different because the only other vocals I've recorded are guy vocals, which are really easy for me to record.
Yes, so I am not a professional singer, but I have this love and this passion for writing songs. I hear them in my head, and then I have to get them out of my head. And I don't have anyone in my close vicinity who sings, and so this has just been fun for us to get these songs out of my head and maybe out of your head too. I think, yeah. That's the great thing about technology though, is you can do so much more with your music than you could 20 years ago.
We finished the album. There's some songs or parts of songs where I listen to and I'm I do that differently, but they're all still fun to listen to. So I'll still always listen to them. But
Yeah.
there's definitely little details that will always bug me. And probably the more I learn, and the more I get better, I bet everything will bug me.
So then we'll have to make a second album.
But it's okay because it's still fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's fun. Memories. You learn stuff, right?
Yeah, I got to experiment with vocals that are different.
I used to get teased for these vocals when I was a kid. No kidding. People called me Smurfette, Chipmunk. So I think when you have something in your life that people see as a weakness, it's really cool when you can turn it into a strength. So whenever we have choir at church, I'm always recruited as the soprano. So I would say also getting to spend quality time together, because Gabe's a lot of fun, and seeing the music side of him is just a really cool side that everyone needs to experience. I feel like music is therapy. So every time I would walk into his studio, I felt like I was walking into a therapy session. And I could go in with a weight on my shoulder or problems in the back of my mind. But by the time I left the studio, most days, not always, I would just feel so happy and it would just last the rest of the day. There's just something about writing music and creating, I think just creating in general, something that you can be proud of. It just feels really good, so.
I don't think so. If you're not happy, there's a little, I want to hear you say, oh. And it's a synth mixed with I just sampled her voice, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what she asked me to do. Because it was from, what's the one song by New Shoes?
New Shoes from the 80s. Yeah. Yeah, we were trying to create that. There's a lot of 80s influence on this album. 80s and early 90s. Those were good decades.
I think that's the only song that's in 3/4. That's a fun fact. It's the only song that's not. It's in a different time signature. And then also the phrase for that song, it's kind of a little off because usually it will repeat in a song 4 times. Whereas if you listen, I'm pretty sure the phrases are 5 measures each. So it's a little different. But I don't know if anyone will notice that, but I don't know, it's just how I played it and I kept it. So
what I learned from him that I really like is you don't want your songs to be too predictable. So like some of our songs would start with the chorus and some wouldn't. Sometimes you would think you're about to go to a chorus and then it takes you somewhere else.
one thing I learned that I don't even know if I did this on the album, but I know that you shouldn't go 8 seconds, I think, without introducing something new, which I'm sure there's plenty of time where nothing was introduced new. I mean, I don't know, but that's something I try to follow, so it's always a little different.
The ways that some of the songs end are really unexpected, which is kind of fun. And I think there's one song where I kept changing the words of the chorus and Gabe's like, you don't do that.
I mean, it doesn't really matter. It was just for like a pop album.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, sometimes we're rule breakers. Like he and I would break the rules. We're like, oh, we're just gonna do this because it sounds good. And then other times we realize there's times when you need to keep the rules, follow the rules, because it works.
Yeah.
Tried and
On
true.
Your Worth, you wanted all the choruses different.
Yeah, I did.
But I didn't want that because I wanted something that people could just easily learn.
Yeah, there's nothing worse, I guess, when you're driving in the car and you're ready to like belt out the chorus of a song and you're totally building up to that part and you're feeling it. And then what you say are the wrong words and it just ruins that moment. Just totally ruins the climax. And so I get it. Because I did that. I was like trying to sing one of my own songs and I kept singing the wrong words and it messes it up. So yes, there is wisdom in keeping it